Hey YouTube, what's going on? Today we are going to be covering a team that just might be the second best team in Middle East, but we don't know for sure yet, and that team is F16 Esports. Now, you've probably seen some of the F16 players play on my stream before. Specifically, Rawas is probably the one you have the most recognition of, the top ones player from the Middle East, who has a twin brother, Kiileerrz. Kiileerrz has played a lot recently as he has improved in the ones game. But today, in this threes match, we are going to be watching from their third teammate's perspective, Basil. Basil we don't talk about as much, but has been a huge part of F16 and is a very mechanical, aggressive player, as I learned today, while streaming their scrims in preparation for the $2 million Saudi land. Now, that is what the context of these games are. They are scrimming against another team, Twisted Minds from the Middle East, about the 6th seed in the Middle East RLCS. And we'll see how they'll compare, because some people are trying to say that this team is the Falcons destroyer. No team could take the Falcons down in any of the 9 regionals in RLCS 21-22. But maybe F16 will be the first to do it when the RLCS starts back up. This will be a great opportunity to try that out for them. Now, you might remember a team called Nameless a long time ago. Rawas, Kiileerrz, and Nupo. They teamed together, all youngsters, when they were under 15 years old, and they were a great team, a top-level team in the Middle East. But Nupo turned 15 before the twins. He turned 15, in fact, with enough time to play in the final split. So instead of staying with Nameless and Rawas and Kiileerrz, he decided to move on to Cola in order to be able to play, and Cola actually became the second best team in the region, beating the Falcons on occasion. So, will they go back to that team, or will they stay, Rawas and Kiileerrz stay with Basil and just try and make F16 the second best team in the region? We'll have to see. Now, Basil has been playing pretty well. Before today, I hadn't seen a ton of performances from him, but look at this reset shot that does get saved. And now I'm realizing he's maybe just as mechanical as the twins that he plays alongside. And he's rotating wide here. We're going to go through a 3v3 game, a 2v2 game, and a 1v1 game. The 2v2 we'll watch from Kiileerrz's perspective. And then, of course, the ones that they did in this scrim, they had Rawas play it. So we will watch from Rawas's perspective to get an idea on how all of these different F16 team members play. Now, when I watch this live, I'm watching it back now in the replays as well, Basil, I would say his playstyle seemed most comparable to Aqua. I've watched Aqua in some threes replays before with Rogue, and he played so incredibly aggressive. Upfield, constantly looking for redirects and mechanical plays, and not very often going back to cover defense. That is my comparison. It'll be interesting to see if I have any other thoughts now that I'm watching just from his perspective. But look at that redirect. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that Basil is looking for at all times. And so far has had a slight aversion to going back on defense. But look at this double on the pass from Rawas. He finds the angle. This is Basil for you. As you watch him score that double, you might think, wait a second, maybe F16 doesn't pick up Nupo and see if they can, you know, play as the old Nameless team. Maybe they just stick with Basil, because he seems to be a more than competent Middle Eastern player. Now Kiileerrz over to Rawas, who scores. In fact, let's watch it from their perspective, because I know we're watching this one from from Basil's as a way to show you guys off, but this is a great play between the twins that ended up getting a goal. I want to see player view of Kiileerrz. All right, we went far back in time, but it should work out, because I believe it was shortly off this kickoff. This demo, Kiileerrz launches it up, dies, but launches it up to Rawas, who is able to catch it with the reset and then use the flip to put it in the bottom left corner. This is just truly insane. This is one of the things I was super surprised about, how mechanical this play was by this team. Kiileerrz up to Rawas, who catches it with a reset and slots it bottom left. I mean, F16 just might be able to do it. If you were a doubter before, maybe just watching a couple of these shots has brought you back to believing that they can do it. It seems like, you know, Falcons aren't just the best team in the Middle East, though. They're the best team potentially in the world, or fighting for it. I think Moist, you have to say, is the best team in the world. The Falcons, you can argue, is there at number 2. Can F16 make such a splash that they can move themselves up into that conversation. We'll have to see. Now Basil playing really slow here in the corner with Rawas and Kiileerrz. Kiileerrz looking for a solo double. Everybody on this team so incredibly mechanical, and that feels like a requirement as Rocket League moves forward. You see the teams like Falcons, like Moist, although Basilcy, not the greatest defensive positioning. I think that's a good example right there of why he's maybe got a comparison to Aqua. Looks so comfortable on the opposition's half, but doesn't seem to be making the best of decisions when it's up to him to be last back. But as I was saying, everybody on this team mechanical. That is going to be a requirement going forward in Rocket League if you want to be one of the top players. One of the top teams, because the game has just advanced so much. Wow, it's nice 50. Once again, you see Basil almost chilling in front of the ball, in front of the play, waiting to take a shot. And this time it actually makes it so his shot is much weaker than maybe he could have otherwise gotten if he had waited out at midfield. Kiileerrz going to try and win a race. Lost to 50 down. Actually good patience from Basil. Up 2-1. Now going for the redirect. Kiileerrz trying to finish it. Doesn't go in, but it can certainly be forced to the ground. And F16 are going to win this game. Next, we'll move into a 2v2 that the twins play together. All right, now we're going to be watching a 2v2 from Kiileerrz's perspective. The twin brother of Rawas, and second best in 1v1, but maybe not second best in 2v2 or 3v3. This was another one of the conversations we had on the live stream today about whether or not Kiileerrz is really under in skill compared to Rawas, because if you're just a follower of the one scene, you might think, well, I've heard of Rawas way more than I've heard of Kiileerrz. Doesn't that mean that Rawas is the better player and that Kiileerrz is maybe second best? I think that's only in the ones category. I think as you move towards twos and threes, there is much less or maybe no deficit between the two. And that's what makes them such an exciting pair to play with as a team going forward. I think that brothers being on the same team could be awkward. I think there's a really good chance for that to maybe not work out, especially if you're a team that's trying to push into the RLCS and can't quite get there, because as you guys continue to team with each other, you'll see players all the time in the RLCS trying to make it in, constantly moving teams to find what works. You can't really do that as a brother duo, or at least you'd have to be very awkward and say, you know, I think I need to do it without you. But that's not going to be a problem with Rawas and Kiileerrz. After that was a nasty read, by the way, on the butt tap from Kiileerrz to score the second. It's not going to be a problem because they're definitely going to make RLCS, and they're definitely going to compete for the top. Now, as long as your team is doing really well, there's no reason to consider changing your team, which is great. No reason to break up the brotherhood just yet. But it'll be interesting to see the dynamics of a team if, say, one of them doesn't want to grind as hard anymore. But let's stop talking about negatives. Let's talk about the fun fact. The fact that these guys will be playing together, and they will be playing very well together, which is a fun prospect indeed. And we'll see how they play their twos. It seems like Rawas and Kiileerrz will be playing their twos together. The twin brother connection. Dribble from Kiileerrz, can't finish it off. By the way, if you see Kiileerrz around, I think his name is technically Kiileerrz. I've just had a tough time remembering to say that because of the way it's spelt for English speakers and because I've said Kiileerrz for so long. Rawas, low 50. Not the first time we've seen a low 50. Interesting communication between Rawas and Kiileerrz this time around, as neither one of them wanted to creep out of net. Finally, Kiileerrz will. He'll clear it in the process, deciding not to go for an angle instead. Picking up a boost. And he is just playing so aggressive. He has such a talent for staying on the ball. Dumping in the corner, Rawas all alone. Never been a problem before. A high lob, and if Kiileerrz had boost, you better believe he'd have been up in the air to get it early, but instead he'll play it off the ground. And it will still work out for his team as he flips and pops the ball past the final defender. Interesting kickoff strategy from Kiileerrz, not picking up any boost. Not even the pad immediately in front of him. Instead, just completely camping in net. Very safe strategy at the cost of, quite a bit. Seems like you could have, at the very least, pick up that boost right in front of you. Rawas and Kiileerrz combining Oh, that is a great shot. Please give it a goal. I couldn't remember whether or not that went in live, but the wall dashes to set it up were so perfect. Now he's going to try and pass to Rawas. Rawas is the king of patience. Not going to try and get greedy and look for a shot up 3-1. Rawas, what a nice save. Kiileerrz has spent more time dead than alive in the past 20 seconds. And Rawas will do it all by himself, almost. But it does get saved away. Nice dunk. There it is, a fourth. Kiileerrz comes flying in. Got to protect the ball better, especially the way he's been playing these really aggressive challenges. It's interesting. We watched Reddles and Daniel play yesterday. Seeing how physical they were, I think that's something that I don't really see much in twos because it is such an all-in type play normally for the players searching for demos. And we see the same thing here. I mean, Rawas and Kiileerrz not going for those demos, because they are so risky. Look at Kiileerrz's wall dashes. I've been looking and trying to decide who is the best wall dasher in the game right now. I want to say it's AJ, but Kiileerrz, AJ or Nupo, Kiileerrz is actually making me reconsider. He's had a couple of really nice ones. And I think soon it'll be everybody. The answer will be truly just everybody is top-notch at the wall dashes because they will probably become a requirement in the game at some point as the skill ceiling rises. For now, it is slightly unique. Kiileerrz just looking for cars and not the ball. He'll get two. Not fast enough, though, to leave an open net for Rawas. So there will be a goalie there for a save. Look how Kiileerrz pops off the wall so fast. Does not stay glued to it. Wants to get right back in the action. Just need to kill this ball down with 10 seconds left to go. Rawas and Kiileerrz, they won every threes game up until this point. They have now won the twos games as well. Next, we'll see Rawas playing in some ones. Rawas playing some ones against Doom, the ones player from Twisted Minds. Now, this is going to be a good opportunity that we actually don't get a ton. And people sometimes ask for this great hook shot on the YouTube comments and stuff, and I don't ever think it's worth a full video or a huge series, which is basically a player in the top 100, or one of the top ones players, really, better than just the top 100, playing against somebody that they outmatch. Because the reality is here, against Doom, Rawas is heavily favored. I haven't seen Doom in the top 100. I don't know where he falls as a player in ones. I imagine it's probably SSL. Most RLCS Pro players can get SSL in ones if they really want to. But there's a good chance that this whole team doesn't play ones at all. And what does a pro level player who can't or doesn't necessarily play much ones, what do they look like against a guy like Rawas as he tries to air dribble bump? Rawas, one of the hardest players to air dribble bump in the game, able to dodge around the side, and now flick for a third. Will Rawas dominate the kickoff game as well? He actually hasn't taken control of this kickoff. As he heads back to net, and he's taken off the map on a low demolition. But Doom actually didn't have the ball headed to the net. So he's not going to get a goal off of it. And now Rawas bumping Doom away. I don't think he's going to be able to win the race back to the ball. So he will turn back towards the net. Rawas' goal line defense, the most patient that you'll ever see. The backflip challenge is solid. And a fourth. 4-0 for Rawas. A minute 20 in, he's looking good. Sorry for any issues with my voice today. That's a great save. Haven't been feeling 1,000,000%, but not too bad. Still, I apologize. Shouldn't be an issue much in the future. Rawas not able to score in this possession. Taking it back around the corner. Just feels so comfortable. Maybe starting to relax here in this matchup. 4-0, you see him mustying at the midfield for no other reason, just to push the ball forward. What a flick from Rawas. Absolutely slotting it top right. 5-0, not a single goal so far for Doom. Wave dash kickoff. Going to get Rawas a possession, and he'll use his time to swing really wide, grab another 100, and set up a bounce dribble. This 50 has the ball coming out to midfield. Rawas thought better of maybe trying to shoot it in the air. He's got another opportunity. Power shot. Doom can't get to it. 6-0. As Doom just absolutely passing the ball and setting Rawas up. And there it is. There's your first mistake from Rawas. You thought maybe he could go without getting scored on a single time. This touch in the corner pushes the ball out to midfield, and it's just far too strong for him to be able to protect. So 6-1, and now a kickoff win for Doom. His flick goes high. Rawas with the classic save off the backboard in an attempt to buy himself some more time. He's now playing low boost on ball. He does get it clear, but he's going to give Doom tons of space once again. So what will Doom go to? Looking like an air dribble bump, but this time it goes low. And it's so low that it maybe throws Rawas off. He can't find a way around it. And he thought he was going to be able to save it easily, I imagine. But his diagonal flip does not get the ball out of dangerous way. 6-2. He looks for a quick shot, but Doom is able to cover it. Rawas, bounce dribble flick. Got the ball over the top. This will be an easy bucket. Never in a million years is Rawas missing this one. 7-2 as he runs it up against, remember, an RLCS level player from the Middle East. He is going to hand over a free kickoff. So surprisingly, the only way that Doom is getting goals is through the kickoff. You would think that the kickoff might be the place that Rawas, an experienced ones player, would dominate the most. But he has been fairly even with the kickoffs. And any time in the open field, Rawas just has the advantage. And I was talking about on stream, ones players who need to be able to be good in best of ones, because it will be best of ones in this crew battle tournament, meaning there will only be one 1v1 played. So you have to be able to win your first 1v1. You have to be able to be very consistent. And I actually think Rawas's playstyle plays really well into that. Great save over the top, because he plays so controlled, so comfortable, that I don't think he's going to be getting upset by many ones players that aren't his caliber. Whereas some of the other more hectic, high-flying players can sometimes get beat out by, you know, a smart RLCS player who's maybe not dabbling in ones quite as often. Just don't see that happening with Rawas. Doom backflipping off this ball. Smart idea to use some boost to catch back up to it, though, because Rawas was going to take a quick shot if he didn't do that. What another nice backflip challenge. These backflip challenges are hard to do correctly. Rawas getting multiple goals off of it so far here against Doom. You get him cornered into his net, and it's almost a worse situation for you on offense than it is for Rawas on defense. Doom doesn't seem to like air dribbles. He had a really great bounce that he could have taken for an air dribble. But the Middle East players in general, not just you know, the ones players, maybe the RLCS players as well, do seem to like their ground dribbles over potential air dribbles. I remember when I first watched just tons of North American ones and started watching some other regions, surprising how much they didn't take things to the air, just because the North Americans seem to do it all the time. Rawas is going to kill some time. 13 seconds left to go. He's got a feeling Doom's not coming back. Not 6 goals in 10 seconds. So domination for F16, not only in these games that you saw, but actually in every single game during the hour-long scrim, because F16 did not lose a single time. They won 3 3v3s, I think, and then 3 2v2s, and then this final 1v1. So very impressive play from F16. They showed they can dominate the Middle East number 6 seed like the Falcons did as well. But can they put pressure on the Falcons and try and make it the Middle East a 2-team region? We'll have to see.